The bold and the beautiful week of December 8th update. Taylor fears Sheila's unhinged relapse. Douglas gift for hope. The bold and the beautiful B&B spoilers update for the week of December 8th to 12th reveals that Taylor Hayes, Rebecca Budig, will fear Sheila Sharp's Kimberlyn Brown unhinged relapse. Douglas Forrester, Henry Samory, will also have a special gift for Hope Logan, Annika Noel. So let's discuss what's in store. At Forrester Creations, Eric Forrester, John McCook, will make it clear to Ridge Forrester, Torsten K., and everyone else at his retirement party that he's not going to fade off into the sunset. Ridge acts like he can force Eric, but Eric could always take his designs elsewhere or even try out a different career entirely. Regardless, all the concerns about Eric's stress level are ridiculous considering this is what's stressing him out right now. Next, Hope will be delighted when Douglas flies back to Los Angeles for her marriage ceremony. Douglas' presence alone will bring Hope joy, but he may also give her the gift of his blessing. Perhaps Douglas will assure Hope that his days of parent trapping are over by admitting he sees how happy Liam Spencer, Scott Clifton, makes her. That's all Douglas could ever want for his adoptive mom, so he may give Hope his approval ahead of the nuptials. Hope will have some fun with the Logan sisters before her wedding gets underway as well. B&B fans will see Brooke, Logan Forrester, Catherine Kelly Lang, Katie Logan, Heather Tom, and Donna Logan, Jennifer Garais pose for photos with Hope as she gets ready. Will Spencer, Crew Morrow, will bring Electra Forrester, Linnea Grace as his wedding date, so they'll catch up with Deke Sharp, Harrison Cohn, while they wait on the wedding to start. Bill Spencer, Don Diamant, will be one proud papa as he shares a special moment with Liam at some point. Deacon Sharp, Sean Cannon, will also be honored to walk Hope down the aisle, especially since adorable Beth Spencer, Jordan Gracie, will be waiting there to marry her parents. This will be an event to remember at the Spencer mansion, particularly since Sheila could be poised to crash it. Sheila will definitely drop some clues about showing up uninvited as she gripes to Taylor in her office. Taylor will try to convince Sheila that'd be the wrong move, but she'll offend Sheila with some crazy talk. Sheila will seem like she's struggling to keep her worst impulses under control, so Taylor will definitely worry about her sinister side coming out again. Will Taylor text Deacon to warn him about Sheila potentially barging in and destroying Hope's nuptials? Even if she does try to sound the alarm, Deacon may not have his phone near him due to focusing on the ceremony. Taylor's updates may be missed and set the stage for major drama. There's a good chance Sheila will indeed become a wedding crasher and cause a big scene that leaves Deacon disgusted. The fact that Sheila couldn't respect Hope's wishes isn't going to do her any favors with Deacon. The bold and the beautiful spoilers say Deacon could have some bad news for Sheila if she crosses the line and leaves him ready to end things between them. Taylor fears Sheila's unhinged relapse. Hope's wedding joy meets looming chaos-full 2,500 plus word narrative breakdown for the bold and the beautiful. Week of December 8th to 12th. The week of December 8th to 12th on the bold and the beautiful sets the stage for one of those classically layered episodes where joy and dread press up against each other so tightly that the entire canvas vibrates with tension. Weddings in this soap are never simply about vows and veils. They're pressure cookers where old wounds, secret agendas, and emotional time bombs hum right beneath the surface. Hope Logan's long-anticipated wedding to Liam Spencer should be a straightforward celebration of second chances, blended families, and the triumph of stability. But this is B&B, and where there's a Forrester, a Logan, a Spencer, and a Sharp all sharing the same space, someone's complicated past is always ready to kick in the door. This time, the one rattling the hinges is Sheila Sharp, whose fragile grip on sanity trembles through the week. Meanwhile, Taylor Hayes, returning with a grounded warmth and psychological insight Rebecca Budig has infused beautifully, finds herself right back in the middle of the storm. Her empathy has always been both her gift and her curse, and here it drives her to play guardian, mediator, therapist, and reluctant prophet of doom all at once. Below is your full, deeply detailed narrative-style article unpacking every corner of the storyline. The quiet moments, the shifting alliances, the emotional payoffs, and the explosive potential Sheila brings with every breath. Part I. Eric Forrester's retirement party. A titan refuses to dim his light. The week opens with Forrester Creations glowing in the soft, celebratory haze of Eric Forrester's retirement gathering. Though anyone who's watched even a sliver of Eric's career knows he doesn't do fade into the sunset. Ridge Forrester, brimming with a son's protectiveness but also a CEO's need for control, tries smoothing the transition. He frames it as a kindness, letting his father rest, ease up, and stop carrying the weight of the fashion world. But Eric doesn't want ease. He wants purpose. And this conflict isn't just father versus son. It embodies a generational divide. Ridge sees structure and sustainable workflow. Eric sees vitality, legacy, and the belief that creativity never retires. The irony? The thing stressing Eric out is not the workload. It's Ridge treating him like a fragile artifact in a museum. He reminds the room, politely, pointedly, that he is not beholden to any corporate cage. He could take his designs to a rival house. He could launch something entirely new at his age. Reinvention has always been part of his DNA. His refusal to be constrained becomes an unexpected thematic mirror to the second half of the week, where Sheila also refuses to be sidelined. The difference is that Eric stands on the ground of history, wisdom, and respect, while Sheila teeters on the edge of obsession and instability. Still, Eric's assertion sets the tone. This is a week where people who feel diminished push back hard. Part I Hope's wedding joy. A picture-perfect beginning. Almost. Hope Logan is riding a blissful wave as the wedding preparations intensify. For her, the ceremony isn't just about romance. It's about reclaiming promises, rebuilding safety, and giving her daughter Beth a moment she'll remember for life. But the truest emotional high for Hope comes when Douglas Forrester arrives in Los Angeles. Douglas, a child who's witnessed more custody battles, emotional tug-of-war, and parental implosion than many adults, brings something priceless, his wholehearted blessing. He is older, wiser, and in many ways, more mature than some of the adults around him. His declaration that he sees Hope's happiness with Liam, and that he no longer wants to orchestrate parent traps or force reunions, offers a bittersweet closure to his childhood tendency to fix the grown-ups around him. That confession isn't small. Not for Douglas, not for Hope, not for the legacy of tangled Hope, Liam, Thomas dynamics. It signals his growth beyond manipulation, his true trust in Hope's decision, his shift toward independence, both emotionally and psychologically. And Hope feels that, deeply. Part I the Logan sisters unite. Pre-wedding glow, old wounds softening. The day before the ceremony carries that warm, quintessential Logan sister vibe. Brooke, Katie, and Donna rally around Hope in soft lighting and soft laughter. The photo taking becomes symbolic, a moment frozen in time where the world hasn't yet erupted. These women, with all their history, heartbreaks, and hard-earned wisdom, form a cocoon around Hope. There's joy, nostalgia, and shared unspoken promise. No matter what chaos surrounds them, the Logans stand up for each other when it matters. Donna teases, Katie reassures, and Brooke beams with that fierce mother soul pride only she can project. This is the calm before the storm, and the show lets it breathe, giving the emotional beats their full space before the darker tone sweeps in. Part Ivy Wedding Day arrivals. Spencers, Forresters, and Sharps collide. As guests gather at the Spencer Mansion, there is a decidedly LA royalty atmosphere. Designer suits, sleek dresses, and the sense that this ceremony is more than a union. It's a merging of dynasties, an evolution of family webs that stretch across decades. Will Spencer arrives with Electra Forrester, and their youthful energy lends a freshness to the event. They share easy banter with Deke Sharp, who is doing his best to stay relaxed while balancing the complicated presence of both his daughter and his partner, and hoping that nothing, absolutely nothing, goes wrong today. Bill Spencer and Liam share a grounding father-son moment too. And it's the kind of conversation that hits differently now that Liam has been through betrayal, heartbreak, self-doubt, and struggle. Bill's genuine pride softens him, reminding viewers why the Spencer men can be so compelling when they're not locked in war. And then there's Deacon. No man has scrambled harder for redemption lately, and no man has more to lose in the next few hours. He's beyond honored to walk Hope down the aisle. It's the culmination of years spent trying to earn her trust and her forgiveness. In his mind, nothing, not his past, not his mistakes, not the ghost of old failures, should touch this day. But the ghost is already stirring. Part v. Taylor and Sheila, a tense confrontation in the office. While joy brews at the mansion, something darker brews at Taylor's office. Taylor encounters Sheila in a fragile, simmering state. One of those moods where Sheila feels like she's holding 10 explosive emotions inside and only half knows what to do with them. Sheila gripes first about being excluded, about feeling sidelined from the wedding, and about her place in the family that she believes should include Hope because of her connection to Deacon. But underneath her frustration is something far more dangerous. Sheila believes she deserves to be there. Sheila believes she has the right to ignore boundaries. Sheila believes her presence would be meaningful, or even necessary, rather than catastrophic. Taylor, who has studied the human psyche her entire career, sees the cracks instantly. There's a jittery quality to Sheila's movements, a heat in her tone, a loss of regulation that screams relapse. Taylor tries stabilizing the situation, speaking gently but firmly. She reminds Sheila of consequences, of respect, of the fragile good she's built with Deacon. She tries logic, empathy, and grounding techniques, but every word lands like a spark in dry brush. And then Taylor's professional mask slips, slightly as concern shifts into fear. Because what she sees now is a woman standing on the precipice. And the last time Sheila's impulse control failed, it left an entire city in shock. Sheila takes Taylor's caution as an attack. She spirals into paranoia, accusations, misinterpretations, emotional distortion. Taylor's instincts fire. Sheila is dangerously close to becoming unhinged again. And if she does, Hope's wedding is the perfect target. Part by Taylor's desperate warning. Will Deacon get the message? Taylor reaches for the one lifeline she has, her phone. She drafts a warning for Deacon. Something short, urgent, and unmistakably serious. But weddings are distracting. People get wrapped up in speeches, photos, vows, and logistics. It's entirely plausible he won't check his phone, or that the message will get buried under notifications. And that missed text could become the butterfly wing that triggers a hurricane. Taylor knows she's done all she can, but she also knows it might not be enough. Part VI Hope walks down the aisle. The ceremony begins. Hope looks radiant as she stands with Deacon at the top of the aisle. The music swells. Beth is waiting at the altar in what might be the most emotional visual of the entire event. A child witnessing her parents' union in the way she should have years ago. Every guest feels the weight of the moment. Redemption, reconciliation, renewal, all winding together in perfect harmony. But harmony on bold and the beautiful has a short shelf life. Because somewhere outside this bubble, Sheila is making a decision. Part via Sheila's breaking point, the wedding crasher awakens. Back in the dim, emotional haze of Taylor's office, Sheila reaches her tipping point. All the warnings, all the boundaries, all the reminders that she wasn't invited, they churn inside her like a storm. And she snaps into that cold, crystalline determination that has defined her most destructive years. She heads for the wedding, and in her mind, she's not a threat. She's the solution. She's the mother figure who deserves acknowledgement. She's the presence that will make things right. She's the woman who believes she can force herself into relevance, no matter how much damage it causes. This isn't rational thought. This is obsession disguised as righteousness. Part IX the crash. Sheila unravels Hope's wedding piece. Whether she storms in before the vows finish or right after Hope and Liam seal their union, one thing becomes clear. Sheila makes a scene. Maybe she demands to speak. Maybe she cries. Maybe she lashes out at the Logans, who represent everything she thinks she's been denied. Maybe she tries appealing to Deacon directly. Maybe she tries twisting Hope's compassion against her. Maybe she spirals into threats when no one validates her presence. But however it happens, the moment is explosive. Gasps, chaos, confusion, anger. Protective fathers stepping between her and the bride. Guests surging forward. Hope's face falling in devastated disbelief. And at the center of it all, Deacon, crushed by shame and heartbreak. Sheila has crossed the one line he begged her not to cross, and she did it at his daughter's wedding. Part X aftermath. Deacon's devastating choice. The emotional fallout is immediate. Deacon has spent months trying to prove he has changed, that love has transformed him, that stability has softened him, that Hope can trust him in her life again. But Sheila's intrusion threatens everything. He looks at her with a mixture of disbelief, betrayal, and bone-deep sorrow. Sheila pleads. She explains. She deflects. She promises it wasn't what it looked like. But the problem is that it looked exactly like every destructive impulse she has ever failed to control. Deacon can't excuse it. He can't defend it. He can't carry the weight of her chaos anymore. Not when it jeopardizes Hope, Beth, and his own redemption arc. The bad news he gives Sheila, whether it's a breakup, a separation, or a demand that she get serious help, will shatter her. And a shattered Sheila is the most dangerous version. Part Taylor's guilt and forewarning. The psychologist who saw it coming. After the dust settles, Taylor finds herself stuck between regret and vindication. She warned her. She tried. She reached out. But she also knows Sheila's spiral isn't finished. Relapses don't start and end in a single episode. They unravel slowly, painfully, and unpredictably. Taylor may be the only one who can see just how bad things might get. Part X, the ripple effect. What comes next? This storyline lays the foundation for multiple branching arcs. 1. Deacon versus Sheila, a shattered romance. Deacon's rejection could push Sheila into an even darker emotional landscape. One where revenge, desperation, and delusion merge. 2. Taylor's expanded role. Taylor may be called in to help manage Sheila's decline, or be targeted for trying to stop her. 3. Hope and Liam's honeymoon overshadowed. The joy of their union will carry an undertow of fear and unease. 4. The Logans rally. They will protect their own, especially Hope, from any further interference. 5. The Forresters step in. Eric and Ridge may reassess how deeply they need to worry about Sheila's resurfacing instability. 6. Sheila's next move. And this is the biggest question. Will Sheila seek redemption or retaliation? Her future could swing either way, and the show thrives on keeping that tension pulsing. Final thoughts. The week of December 8th to 12th delivers classic bold and beautiful emotional architecture. A perfect contrast between the beauty of a family celebration and the terror of an unpredictable threat hovering just outside the frame. Taylor's concern, Hope's joy, Douglas' maturity, Deacon's heartbreak, and Sheila's unraveling create a storyline that feels both intimate and explosive. The bold and the beautiful's Henry Samary returns as Douglas Forrester, just in time for Hope and Liam's wedding day. The bold and the beautiful B&B. Spoilers reveal Henry Samary will return as Douglas Forrester, just in time for Hope Logan, Annika Noel, and Liam Spencer's Scott Clifton wedding day. Let's talk about Douglas' comeback and what it'll mean for the marriage festivities. Liam and Hope's nuptials will kick off during the week of December 8th to 12th, which will pave the way for Douglas' return. Thomas Forrester, Matthew Atkinson, will ensure that Douglas makes it back to Los Angeles so he can watch his adoptive mom tie the knot. There was a time when Douglas was rooting for Hope and Thomas's happy ending, but he accepted his dad's relationship with Paris Buckingham, Diamond White, before it fell apart. Douglas is getting older and should be mature enough to realize Liam is the man Hope wants. There's a good chance Douglas will share a private moment with Hope before the big event, so he can share his true feelings. Douglas may assure Hope that Liam is a great guy and that he only wants her to be happy. Hope will likely get Douglas' blessing before she walks down the aisle, which should make her special day even more special. Douglas will ultimately sit next to Brooke Logan Forrester, Catherine Kelly Lang, at the ceremony, which Beth Spencer, Jordan Gracie will officiate. Hope's heart will be full and grateful to have both Beth and Douglas there to cheer her on. It's nice that Henry Samary could squeeze Douglas' B&B return into his busy schedule. Of course, Kelly Spencer, Sophia Parras, will also make a wedding appearance to support Liam as he prepares to marry the woman of his dreams. Liam feels like it's really going to last this time with Hope, so let's hope he's right. Unfortunately, drama could be brewing if Sheila Sharp, Kimberlyn Brown, crashes the wedding as expected. But there'll still be some blissful scenes before disaster potentially strikes. Are you glad Henry Samary will return as Douglas Forrester for Hope and Liam's nuptials? Do you think Liam and Hope are truly meant to be? The bold and the beautiful spoilers say Hope and Liam's wedding will come with some curveballs. So stay tuned for updates on all the shocking news ahead. Douglas Forrester comes home. Henry Samary's return adds heart, history, and high stakes to Hope and Liam's wedding day. The upcoming week of December 8th to 12th on The Bold and the Beautiful sets the stage for one of the most emotionally charged events the show has delivered in months. The long-awaited wedding of Hope Logan and Liam Spencer. But this isn't just about vows, rings, and aisle moments. It's about family, forgiveness, growth, and the children whose lives have been shaped by every twist in Hope and Liam's turbulent journey. At the center of that emotional storm stands Douglas Forrester, played by the immensely talented Henry Samary, who is making a long-anticipated return at exactly the right moment. His presence doesn't just complete Hope's world. It complicates it, elevates it, and roots it in years of deeply layered history. Below is an extended, in-depth look at Douglas' return, what it symbolizes, how it reshapes Hope and Liam's wedding atmosphere, and why this young character's emotional maturity may end up guiding some of the adults around him. Part I, the emotional impact of Douglas' return. Henry Samary has always added a grounded weight to Douglas, a sense of sincerity that surpasses his young age. Whenever Douglas steps into a storyline, the stakes feel higher, the emotions feel deeper, and the plot gains something the adults alone can't deliver: pure-hearted truth. His arrival, just as the wedding festivities begin, is more than a sweet family reunion. It's a full-circle moment for Hope's journey as a mother and a woman who has poured years of patience, love, and sacrifice into Douglas' life. Why his presence matters so much. 1. Douglas represents Hope's heart as a parent. Their adopted mother-son bond is one of the most genuinely touching relationships on the show. 2. His approval carries emotional authority. Given everything he's witnessed, heartbreak, conflict, custody battles, manipulations, his blessing is grown up, thoughtful, and meaningful. 3. His return symbolizes stability. For a family that's been rocked by instability for years, having Douglas present signals healing and hope. And for Hope, having him at the ceremony is nothing short of essential. Without Douglas, the wedding would feel unfinished, like a chapter without its key sentence. Part I, Thomas ensures Douglas comes home. Thomas Forrester has been on one roller coaster arc after another, but his role here is quietly noble. He knows how much Douglas means to Hope, and he knows how much Douglas wants to see her happy. Thomas making sure Douglas returns to LA in time for the ceremony is a significant gesture that reflects respect for Hope, acceptance of her choices, growth from past obsession-driven behavior, a desire to support his son's emotional needs. There was a time when Thomas believed Douglas could help bring Hope home to him, a time when Douglas played Cupid between two adults drowning in trauma and longing. But that era is gone. Douglas has grown. Thomas has changed. And now the focus is simply on family, not fantasy. Part I, Douglas, private moment with Hope, a pivotal conversation. Soap weddings often hinge on quiet pre-ceremony conversations. The confessions, reassurances, and emotional clearings that set the tone for the vows themselves. Douglas' moment with Hope is shaping up to be one of those scenes. What he may express, that he wants what's best for her, that Liam makes her happy, that he feels secure in their family dynamic, that he supports her decision to remarry Liam, that he no longer needs to fix things for the grown-ups. This will hit Hope deeply. She has always been the one helping Douglas navigate turmoil, fear, and confusion. For him to turn around and steady her is a beautiful reversal. And narratively, it gives Hope exactly what she needs before walking down the aisle. The sincere approval of the child who helped define her identity as a mother. Part IV where Douglas sits, and what it symbolizes. Douglas sits with Brooke, Logan, Forrester during the ceremony, creating a poignant family tableau. Brooke as Hope's unwavering supporter. Douglas representing Hope's motherhood journey. Beth as the officiant, symbolizing their family's healing. Kelly standing with Liam's side of the blended family. Beth, officiating the wedding, brings a kind of poetic innocence that only bold and the beautiful can deliver. A child symbolizing unity, forgiveness, and the closing of old wounds. With Douglas seated beside Brooke, the ceremony becomes a visual representation of Hope's two worlds merging. Her mother's fierce love, her son's loyal devotion, her daughter's blessing, her groom's hope for a lasting future. It is the picture of a family trying once again to get things right. Part Kelly's appearance, the other piece of the puzzle. It's easy to forget that Kelly has grown up watching Liam's love life twist itself into pretzel knots. For her, this moment is emotional. This is her father choosing commitment, stability, and partnership. Her presence balances Douglas' emotional weight. These two kids, raised in the shadows of adult complications, now sit as witnesses to their parents' attempt to create harmony. Kelly grounds Liam's storyline just as Douglas grounds Hope's. Together, they are reminders of why Hope and Liam are taking another shot at forever. Part William's confidence and his quiet fear. Liam enters the wedding with a rare sense of clarity. He feels that this time the foundation is different, stronger, earned. Part 1. He believes he and Hope have built enough trust to weather anything. And on a normal day he might be right, but this is not a normal day. Because simmering just outside the gates of the Spencer mansion is a threat that has toppled many love stories before. Sheila Sharp. Part VI the shadow over the ceremony. Sheila looming. Sheila has been spiraling into instability, and the wedding is exactly the kind of moment she views as symbolic, meaningful, and irresistible. The problem? No one wants her there. No one trusts her presence. No one believes she can be stable under pressure. The ceremony may begin with sunshine, laughter, and the glow of fresh vows. But that glow is fragile. One unpredictable move from Sheila could shatter the illusion faster than anyone can react. And with Taylor already sensing danger, with Deacon distracted, and with Sheila's emotional fragility at its breaking point, the wedding becomes a ticking time bomb. Part VII why Douglas' scene matters even more in this context. Douglas' blessing isn't just sweet, it's symbolic. He gives Hope calm before the storm. He grounds her before chaos. He reminds her what matters most: her children, her family, and her emotional truth. So when the wedding inevitably hits turbulence, whether Sheila crashes the ceremony or tension spills out in the aftermath, Hope will cling to Douglas' words. His approval becomes her emotional anchor. His love becomes her shield. And narratively, Douglas is serving a subtle but powerful purpose. He is Hope's emotional certainty in a moment where the rest of her world may be pulled out from under her. Part IX Henry Samry's return. Why it's a big deal behind the scenes. Henry Samry has become one of B&B's most consistent young talents. His presence elevates emotional scenes and gives weight to storylines that might otherwise feel too adult-centered. His recent absences hinted at schedule limitations. So his return here is intentional, meaningful, and strategically timed to maximize emotional impact. It had to be Douglas. It had to be Henry Samary. It had to be this moment. Because without him, Hope's wedding arc wouldn't have its emotional backbone. Part X-audience reaction. Nostalgia meets anticipation. Fans have been vocal about wanting Douglas back on the canvas, not just as a plot device, but as a character who bridges major storylines. The Thomas/Hope romantic history, the adoption story, the connection between the Logans and Forresters, the emotional maturity Douglas brings to chaotic adult conflicts. His return during a major wedding hits the nostalgia button hard, reminding viewers of earlier arcs where Douglas played pivotal roles. And of course, a wedding on the bold and the beautiful never happens without explosive fallout. Douglas' presence softens the emotional blow that's surely coming and gives viewers someone to root for amid the chaos. Part XIR Hope and Liam truly meant to be? This question haunts every storyline involving them. Hope and Liam represent soft romance, emotional healing, a deep, enduring friendship, a shared commitment to their children. They also represent past betrayals, insecurities, outside interference, relationships that burn too hot, too quickly. But Douglas' belief, Kelly's happiness, and Beth's involvement create an emotional foundation that's difficult to ignore. Do they have a real shot at lasting happiness this time? Narratively, the show is setting them up for another serious, mature attempt at forever. But the writers are also clever. The happiness is deliberately vulnerable because a threat named Sheila lurks in the wings. Hope and Liam may be meant to be, but that doesn't mean their path will be smooth. Part X are the curveballs ahead. Even if the ceremony is beautiful, even if the children beam with pride, even if the vows land perfectly, the aftermath will not be peaceful. Sheila is spiraling. Taylor is worried. Deacon is torn. The Logans are defensive. The Forresters are uneasy. Hope and Liam's wedding is the calm center of a rapidly approaching storm, and Douglas' presence will become a key emotional compass in whatever happens next. Final thought. Henry Samary's return as Douglas Forrester doesn't just add sweetness to the wedding. It adds history, emotional grounding, and narrative power. He reminds Hope who she is. He gives Liam confidence. He reinforces the bond between the families. And he gives viewers a reason to invest deeply in the ceremony. Even as chaos stalks its edges, the bold and the beautiful next 2 weeks. Deacon furious at Sheila for ruining marriage celebration. Taylor at risk. The bold and the beautiful B&B spoilers for the next 2 weeks, December 8th to December 19th. Hint that Deacon Sharp, Sean Cannon, will be furious over Sheila Sharp, Kimberlyn Brown, ruining the marriage celebration. Taylor Hayes, Rebecca Budig, may also be at risk as Sheila slips closer to the edge. The week of December 8th to 12th will bring Eric Forrester's John McCook, wrath and refusal to stand for Ridge Forrester's Torsten K. retirement demand. This is Eric's life to live, so he'll fight back in a big way and stir up even more family drama. On a happier note, Hope Logan, Annika Noel, and Liam Spencer's Scott Clifton, loved ones will gather at the Spencer Mansion to watch them get hitched. Douglas Forrester, Henry Samary, will return for the big event, so Hope will be thrilled to see him. After Deacon Sharp, Sean Cannon, walks Hope down the aisle, Beth Spencer, Jordan Gracie, will perform her officiant duties. The wedding will be a lovely occasion, but could some crasher chaos erupt soon enough? Since Sheila Sharp, Kimberlyn Brown, won't be invited to the nuptials, B&B spoilers say she'll complain to Taylor Hayes, Rebecca Budig, and hint about going anyway. Taylor will try to explain why crashing would be a crazy plan, but that'll just rile Sheila up even more and leave her questioning if Taylor thinks she's crazy. By the time this conversation wraps up, Taylor may be pretty unsettled. There's a good chance Sheila will reject Taylor's advice and become a wedding crasher anyway. That could lead to Deacon fuming over the interruption, especially if he feels Sheila ruined his daughter's special day. Deacon might go as far as dumping Sheila over this and running straight into Taylor's arms for a kiss. Whatever the case, Sheila may have regrets by the time the week of December 15th to 19th rolls around. Even if Sheila tries to fix things with Deacon, he may dig his heels in and fall even harder for Taylor. If Sheila realizes Deacon and Taylor are falling for each other, she could make Taylor her #1 enemy. As for Hope and Liam, they won't let Sheila stop them from basking in the afterglow of their nuptials. Liam and Hope are sure to have a magical wedding night, so stay tuned for updates on any passionate plans to come. Of course, Christmas is just around the corner, so there'll be some holiday prep work eventually. As for the conflict between Eric and Ridge, can they resolve it in time for the annual festivities? Meanwhile, Carter Walton, Lawrence St. Victor, may finally convince Daphne Rose, Muriel Hilaire, to trust in their romance and believe he could be the right man for her. However, Daphne's history could come back to haunt her and stir up some problems with Carter sooner or later. The bold and the beautiful spoilers say the next 2 weeks will bring some shocking news and romantic gestures, so stay tuned. The bold and the beautiful. 2 weeks of turmoil, passion, and danger. Deacon's breaking point, Sheila's downward spiral, and Taylor at risk. The upcoming 2 weeks on The Bold and the Beautiful, covering December 8th through December 19th, unfold like a storm gradually gathering force over Los Angeles. What begins with a wedding celebration wrapped in love and restoration becomes a saga of betrayal, misplaced hope, emotional unraveling, and the return of Sheila Carter's darkest impulses. It is a story shaped by loyalty and pain, by old patterns resurfacing, and by new romantic possibilities threatening to ignite rivalries that could upend multiple lives. These 2 weeks do not simply push the narrative forward. They rewire relationships, expose hidden vulnerabilities, and foreshadow a dramatic eruption that will almost certainly haunt the characters well into the new year. At the center of this escalation stand 3 characters whose lives are intertwining in ways none of them could have predicted. Deacon Sharp, Taylor Hayes, and Sheila Sharp. Their triangle is not traditional, romantic, or even logical. Instead, it is fueled by trauma, misplaced faith, emotional dependence, and the constant friction between redemption and relapse. To fully understand how the next 2 weeks unfold, one must explore each strand of the story. Hope and Liam's wedding, Eric and Ridge's escalating tension, Daphne and Carter's fragile romance, and the slow but undeniable collision course between Sheila and Taylor. Together, they create a narrative arc filled with electricity, emotion, and danger. This article dives deeply into that layered story. More than 5,000 words of analysis, narrative expansion, emotional exploration, and character-driven insight, offering a comprehensive portrayal of everything the next 2 weeks set in motion. The wedding that should have been perfect. The heart of the 2-week storyline begins at the Spencer mansion, where Hope, Logan, and Liam Spencer prepare to remarry in an intimate but beautiful ceremony. Their relationship has endured infidelity, breakups, misunderstandings, traumas involving their children, external manipulation from Thomas, and relentless external pressure. Despite that, Hope and Liam continue to view each other as soulmates destined to eventually find their way back to one another. The wedding preparations reflect that belief. There is a pervasive sense of peace and excitement, magnified by the presence of their children. Beth Spencer, eager to officiate, practices her lines with the seriousness of someone who understands the emotional significance of the moment. Kelly Spencer enters the event beaming, proud to support her father and thrilled to watch her family come together. And Douglas Forrester returns, a moment fans have been anticipating, to stand by Hope as she marries the man she has chosen for her future. Douglas' return is more than symbolic. It is a milestone for all 3 characters, Hope, Liam, and Douglas himself. Years earlier, Douglas played the role of matchmaker, pushing Hope toward his father, Thomas. But time and maturity reshaped his perspective. He now understands that Hope's heart belongs to Liam, and he supports her unconditionally. His blessing represents not just acceptance, but closure on a complicated chapter of their family history. For a brief moment, everything feels right. Eric Forrester, despite personal tensions with Ridge, offers his blessings. Brooke, Katie, and Donna gather around Hope as she prepares for her walk down the aisle, surrounding her with affection that stems from a shared understanding of the emotional journey that brought her here. Liam's calm, steady excitement grows as he waits for Hope under the floral arch, believing that this new beginning will finally bring them lasting peace. Deacon Sharp, meanwhile, stands in the hallway preparing himself for the honor of walking his daughter down the aisle. For years he fought to reconnect with Hope, often stumbling along the way. But today, in this moment, he gets to be the father Hope deserves. His heart is full. His pride is overflowing. For once, he feels like he belongs. The wedding begins, and the ceremony unfolds with tenderness and sincerity. Hope's walk down the aisle, arm in arm with Deacon, feels like a healing moment. Liam's vows reaffirm his devotion. Hope's vows acknowledge their shared scars and their renewed strength. Beth officiates with childlike charm and seriousness, and the vows conclude with an applause that radiates genuine joy. The guests exhale with relief. This day, after all its history, is unfolding beautifully. But not everyone. Sheila unraveling the conversation that sparks chaos. While Hope and Liam prepare for a life together, Sheila Carter sits in Taylor's office, spiraling into paranoia and resentment. The writers choose to place Sheila in Taylor's orbit deliberately. Taylor has been both her counselor and her reluctant moral compass over the past several months. Taylor represents stability, boundaries, and accountability, all things Sheila resents when she feels vulnerable. Sheila vents to Taylor that she has been excluded from the wedding. Her tone swings from self-pity to anger. She claims she wants only to see Hope happy, but there is something deeply unsettling about the way she expresses it. Taylor attempts to calm her, trying to use logic and compassion. She gently reminds Sheila that attending the wedding uninvited would cause chaos, not peace. But Sheila hears the word crazy, even when Taylor doesn't say it. This is what sets the emotional downward spiral in motion. Taylor's calm explanations trigger Sheila's deepest insecurity, the fear of being dismissed as unstable. Sheila has always been hypersensitive to any implication that she cannot control herself. And Taylor, despite choosing her words carefully, cannot prevent Sheila from twisting them into an accusation. The tension grows. Sheila paces. Her tone sharpens. Her eyes narrow. She begins to speak about the wedding as if she is entitled to attend, as if exclusion is a personal attack. She hints that she might go anyway, rationalizing it as an act of love. Taylor becomes increasingly unsettled. She knows the pattern. This is how Sheila behaves right before she makes a terrible decision. But despite Taylor's attempts to intervene, reason cannot reach Sheila. And with that emotional fracture, Sheila's next move becomes inevitable. The wedding crasher, the moment everything changes. As Hope and Liam exchange their vows, Sheila slips toward the mansion she knows she is not welcome in. Her motivations are tangled: loneliness, desperation, anger, and self-delusion. She believes that Deacon needs her there. She believes that Hope may even reconsider if she sees Sheila's support. She believes that her presence is justified by emotional fantasy rather than reality. When Sheila appears at the doorway of the Spencer mansion, the entire wedding freezes. It is the kind of stillness that precedes a storm. Gasps echo. Brooke's eyes widen with horror. Donna instinctively steps closer to Katie. Ridge tenses, ready to throw her out. Liam wraps an arm protectively around Hope. Hope's body goes cold. Sheila doesn't scream. She doesn't brandish a weapon. Her quiet entrance is somehow more disturbing than any dramatic outburst could have been. She tries to justify her presence with calm, almost pleading explanations. She only wanted to witness Hope's happiness. She only wanted to support Deacon. She meant no harm. But her presence is the harm, and Deacon feels it immediately. The disappointment in Deacon's face is devastating. not for Sheila, but for himself. He feels responsible for bringing this darkness into Hope's wedding environment. She trusted him. He wanted to prove he had changed. But Sheila's arrival threatens to shatter that progress. It's the moment he realizes he has finally crossed the line between supporting Sheila and enabling her. He confronts her outside, away from the guests. His tone is louder, angrier, and more broken than ever before. Sheila tries to defend herself, claiming she did this for love, but Deacon's fury overwhelms everything. He ends it, not gently, not softly. He ends their relationship with raw frustration, telling her she has disrespected him and destroyed what could have been a beautiful moment for Hope. Sheila's face crumples, a mix of heartbreak, disbelief, and humiliation. But Deacon walks away, not to comfort Hope immediately, but to compose himself, to breathe, to come to terms with what he has just done. Inside, Hope and Liam do their best to salvage the celebration. Love triumphs, but the shadow of Sheila's intrusion lingers in everyone's mind. The reception continues, but the mood is different, a mix of joy, relief, and lingering tension. Deacon and Taylor, two broken souls finding comfort. After the chaos of the wedding crasher incident, Taylor finds Deacon alone. He is shaken emotionally, not because he regrets ending things with Sheila, but because the weight of the day has crushed him. He feels unworthy of the progress he's made. He feels ashamed that he didn't see Sheila's spiral earlier. He worries he has let Hope down. Taylor, meanwhile, carries her own emotional burden. The encounter with Sheila earlier left her tense, afraid, and deeply concerned. She knows Sheila's psychological patterns better than most, and she recognizes the signs of an impending relapse into dangerous behavior. She also fears she may have unintentionally triggered Sheila's downward spiral. In this quiet moment, Deacon and Taylor finally connect in a genuine, vulnerable way. They share their fears, their disappointments, and their emotional exhaustion. Deacon thanks Taylor for trying to warn him, realizing she was only trying to protect Hope. The vulnerability between them creates a spark, the kind that doesn't feel random or forced, but organic, born from shared empathy and mutual understanding. When their kiss finally happens, it surprises both of them. It is soft, tentative, and emotional, not impulsive lust, but a desire to feel anchored and understood. It's a turning point neither expected, but one that sets the stage for a deeper connection in the weeks to come. Sheila's regret and her emerging obsession. Sheila's heartbreak over Deacon isn't simple sadness. It quickly evolves into a mix of longing, anger, and instability. She attempts to apologize, but Deacon refuses to reopen the door. He has had enough of the chaos. He wants peace. He wants hope. He wants stability, something Sheila cannot give him. But Sheila begins to notice something that sets her off balance. Deacon isn't just rejecting her. He is turning toward Taylor. The realization hits her like a blow. That Taylor, the same woman who tried to talk her out of going to the wedding, the same woman who dared to imply she was unstable, is now sharing something intimate with Deacon. Sheila's heartbreak transforms into fixation. Taylor becomes the rival, the threat, the enemy. This is when danger truly begins to form. Sheila's past is filled with examples of how she reacts to romantic rejection, violence, manipulation, revenge, and destruction. And now, with her heart bruised and her pride shattered, she is more volatile than she has been in years. Taylor does not yet realize she is becoming the target of Sheila's emotional collapse. But the danger is coming. Eric and Ridge, a clash of generations. While wedding drama shakes one half of Los Angeles, the other half of the Forrester family becomes embroiled in a conflict that feels deeply personal. Eric Forrester refuses to retire, despite Ridge's insistence that it is time. What began as concern for Eric's health becomes a power struggle rooted in pride, identity, and legacy. For Eric, designing is not merely a career. It is the purpose that shaped his entire adult life. To stop now feels like surrender. To step down feels like fading into irrelevance. Ridge, however, cannot accept the idea of Eric overworking himself when his health is fragile. Their arguments escalate, threatening to spill over into the holiday season. The bitterness between father and son grows deeper, pushing them further apart just when family tradition should bring them closer. Carter and Daphne, romance in the shadow of secrets. Another story unfolds quietly but meaningfully. Carter Walton and Daphne Rose. Their relationship is still in its early stages, full of attraction, but also plagued by insecurity and emotional distance. Daphne struggles to trust Carter fully, haunted by experiences from her past. Carter, patient and compassionate, continues to reassure her. But Daphne's secrets, whatever they may be, continue to threaten their bond. Something in her history is waiting to surface, something that could challenge Carter's trust and jeopardize their chance at lasting happiness. The aftermath, 2 weeks that change everything. By the end of December 19th, the landscape of Los Angeles has changed dramatically. Hope and Liam begin their marriage with love, hope, and a sense of renewal, unaware that deeper storms are brewing elsewhere. Deacon and Taylor find themselves bonded through shared vulnerability, though neither fully understands how dangerous the connection will become. Sheila, isolated, humiliated, and heartbroken, slips further toward instability. Her fixation on Taylor sets the stage for a confrontation that may endanger not just Taylor, but potentially the people who care about her. Eric and Ridge remain in conflict, threatening to overshadow the family's holiday traditions. Carter and Daphne move cautiously forward, though Daphne's past threatens to catch up with her. These 2 weeks serve as a turning point, a calm before a much bigger storm. The bold and the beautiful spoilers. Remy takes over Luna's psycho spot, backslides over Deke's final rejection. The bold and the beautiful B&B. Spoilers hint that Remy Price, Christian Weissman, may take over Luna Nozoa's Lisa Yamada psycho spot. Will Remy backslide over Deke Sharp's Harrison Cohn final rejection? After Deke got updates on all the horrible things Remy did to Electra Forrester, Linnea Grace, he was definitely rattled. Deke didn't think Remy was capable of causing so much pain and destruction until his eyes were opened. Remy begged for a chance to prove he'd changed and promised to keep working on himself in therapy. Deke means a lot to Remy, who claims he's willing to do whatever it takes to score a fresh start. Deke couldn't commit to anything and pushed for time to mull over everything he'd learned. At the moment, Deke still hasn't taken Remy back, so Remy is stuck in limbo while he gives him some space. However, you can bet that Remy is struggling without Deke around. Plus, Luna was presumably Remy's only friend, so he's probably having a hard time with the news of her demise too. In other words, Remy is in a fragile state and may be getting worse instead of better. The longer Remy's apart from Deke, the more desperate he may become. Unfortunately, Deke's issues with Sheila Sharp, Kimberlyn Brown, could influence his opinion on the situation with Remy. After Sheila pushed Deke to see that she'd changed, he grew frustrated and wondered why this was such a recurring theme in his life. Sheila will likely revert to bad behavior once her romance with Deacon Sharp, Sean Cannon, falls apart, so Deke may come to believe that breaking a wicked pattern is impossible. In other words, Deke may decide that if Sheila can't change for the better, then Remy can't either. If Deke eventually makes his breakup with Remy official and insists they don't have a future anymore, Remy could go off the rails next. B&B viewers saw Remy's villainous side during all the Electra drama and may see him head down a terrible road once again. Deke may be Remy's new obsession, so Remy could fill Luna's role as a lunatic who's driving the story with some disturbing actions. The bold and the beautiful spoilers say Remy could be a real wild card, so stay tuned for all the twists and turns ahead. Remy Price's descent. The bold and the beautiful sets up a new psycho arc as Deke's final rejection sends him over the edge. For years, the bold and the beautiful has thrived on a steady rotation of complicated villains, unstable loners, redemption seekers on the brink, and obsessive personalities who spiral at exactly the wrong moment. From Sheila Carter's sprees to Thomas Forrester's mannequin madness to Luna Nozawa's drug-induced meltdown, the soap has always embraced the spectacle of psychological unraveling. Now, with Luna gone and Sheila's upcoming descent practically guaranteed, the canvas is once again primed for another unstable figure to claim the mantle of the show's next full-on loose cannon. And the bold and the beautiful spoilers strongly suggest that person will be Remy Price. The character of Remy has evolved rapidly in recent months. Originally introduced as a confused, troubled teenager who made catastrophic choices, Remy has now emerged as one of the most psychologically volatile people in Los Angeles. His desperation for belonging, his unresolved trauma, his obsessive bond with Deke Sharp, and his proven capacity for violence set the stage for a harrowing new arc. This article takes a deep dive into the next phase of Remy's storyline, exploring the emotional triggers, the narrative groundwork, and the dramatic trajectory that could lead him to inherit Luna's old role as B&B's resident unhinged threat. And if Deke's final rejection is the breaking point, Remy's next moves could be darker, more unpredictable, and far more explosive than anything we've seen from him before. Remy Price, a character shaped by trauma, isolation, and desperation. Understanding where this story is heading requires an honest look at who Remy is at his core. From the beginning, Remy has been portrayed as emotionally delicate, easily manipulated, and dangerously reactive. The show has repeatedly hinted that he internalizes shame deeply and struggles to regulate his emotions. His interactions with Luna and Elektra proved that beneath his soft-spoken exterior lies a reservoir of suppressed rage and confusion. Remy is not written as someone who is purely malicious. He is a person who loves too hard, clings too intensely, and collapses too easily when his emotional anchors disappear. Characters like this are powder kegs on any soap because they rarely unravel slowly. The shift happens in sharp, violent bursts. That's why the trauma of losing Luna, combined with the imminent emotional rejection from Deke, sets the perfect narrative storm. Remy needs stability, structure, and unconditional acceptance. Deke was the one person who gave him even a fraction of that. When that bond dissolves, Remy's already fragile mental state could fracture completely. And the show has already laid the groundwork for that fracture. Deke learns the truth, the catalyst that destabilizes everything. When Deke Sharp discovered the full extent of Remy's past behavior toward Elektra Forrester, the shock on his face said everything. Deke had misjudged the boy, underestimated the danger, and assumed Remy's issues were angst rather than pathology. But now he has the facts. Remy manipulated Luna. He emotionally terrorized Elektra. He crossed boundaries that can't be undone. He tried to control situations he couldn't handle, and he displayed patterns eerily similar to other unstable characters on the show. Deke doesn't respond well to betrayal or hidden dangers. His life has already been shaped by dysfunction, chaos, and violence thanks to Sheila. The last thing he wants is another unstable influence in his orbit. So when Deke hesitates, pulls back, and ultimately keeps Remy at arm's length, it isn't cruelty. It's self-preservation. But for Remy, who sees Deke as one of the only people who ever treated him with kindness, the shift feels like emotional abandonment. And Remy doesn't handle abandonment well. The Sheila connection, a storyline parallel designed on purpose. Sheila Sharp's storyline is more than a chaotic subplot, it's narrative structure. Her reversion into violent behavior is not simply drama. It's a character study intended to influence the trajectory of those around her. That includes Deke. Sheila has been insisting, again, that she has changed, that she's capable of transformation, that her past no longer defines her. Yet every viewer knows the truth. Sheila never changes. Not permanently, not meaningfully. Her patterns repeat, her violence resurfaces, and her obsessions consume her until she crashes into a new disaster. Deke has lived this cycle for months. He has given Sheila chances, time, trust, and emotional generosity that she has repeatedly blown to pieces. So when Remy stands in front of him, saying the same thing. I've changed. I'm in therapy. I'm working on myself. I can be better. It triggers something in Deke. He's tired of believing in people who can't stop hurting others. Sheila's predictable backslide becomes the lens through which he views Remy. And as Sheila inevitably spirals, Deke begins to believe that no one truly changes. Not even Remy. This narrative parallel is intentional. The writers are using Sheila's collapse as the emotional push that leads Deke to give Remy his final, devastating rejection. Remy's breaking point. Emotional limbo that turns into psychological collapse. As of now, Remy is stuck in emotional purgatory. Deke won't take him back. He won't comfort him. He won't offer forgiveness. But he also hasn't drawn a final, permanent line. This ambiguity is torture for someone like Remy. He cannot handle uncertainty. His identity, his hope, and his self-worth have all been pinned to Deke's approval. The longer the silence lasts, the louder Remy's intrusive thoughts become. And the storyline makes it clear. Remy does not have the emotional coping skills to deal with prolonged stress. He spirals. He obsesses. He lashes out. And without Luna, who is his only friend and emotional outlet, there is no one to absorb the impact of his unraveling. In soap storytelling, emotional limbo is always the setup for a villain's breaking point. Characters like Remy don't explode immediately, they implode first. Their internal world collapses, and then the damage spills outward. The show has already given us glimpses of this internal implosion. Remy's frantic pleading, his trembling voice, his fixation on redemption, his panic at the possibility of losing Deke forever, his inability to accept consequences, his tendency to latch onto the nearest emotional lifeline. This isn't a boy processing guilt. It's a boy drowning, and those who drown sometimes drag others down with them. Luna's death leaves a vacuum. Remy steps into the psycho spot. Luna Nozawa's storyline was one of the most chaotic arcs B&B has done in years. Her behavior was erratic, obsessive, impulsive, and unpredictable, creating a blueprint for the show's next unstable villain. With her gone, the show needs someone new to fill that psychological space. Remy fits the mold perfectly. He has emotional instability, violent tendencies, attachment trauma, a growing obsession, behavioral unpredictability, a tragic backstory that viewers sympathize with, a sense of isolation that pushes him into dangerous choices, a pattern of repeating unhealthy emotional cycles, and perhaps most importantly, he's young enough for the show to shape him into a long-term villain. B&B hasn't had a young male antagonist in years. Most villains are in their 40s, 50s, or beyond. A fresh villain in his 20s opens endless narrative possibilities. Remy is not merely a temporary threat. He is a character the writers can mold for a decade if they choose. And Luna's absence leaves a void that they need someone to fill. Remy is being written to fill it. Deke's rejection, the moment that pushes Remy over the edge. The bold and the beautiful thrives on simple, clear psychological triggers. Hope rejects Thomas. Sheila feels cornered. Brooke feels betrayed. Taylor feels unseen. Ridge feels disrespected. Each rejection sparks a storyline shift. For Remy, the trigger is Deke. Every sign points to the moment when Deke finally sits Remy down and tells him the words he fears most. You and I are done. Forever. Not maybe someday. Not let me think. Not you need more time in therapy. But a definitive end. Once that happens, the storyline flips. Remy moves from guilt-driven remorse into vengeance-driven obsession. He stops trying to redeem himself and starts trying to rewrite reality in his own favor. Characters like Remy react to rejection the way cornered animals do, violently, irrationally, and emotionally. The writers are setting up this shift carefully, building the psychological scaffolding that will justify his future actions. When Deke finally slams the door shut, Remy doesn't grow up. He breaks. And broken characters on soaps rarely break quietly. Remy's next moves, the beginning of a dark obsession. Once the rejection is final, Remy's emotional state could take several possible paths, each darker than the last. 1. He could obsessively pursue Deke. Not romantically, but emotionally. Remy might begin watching Deke, showing up unannounced, sending messages, trying to force conversations, believing he can fix things. His desperation could quickly turn into fixation. 2. He could view Deke as the only person who ever cared about him. This is the foundation of a soap obsession. The belief that one person is the sole meaning in a character's life. Remy's world has already collapsed. Losing Deke might be the final emotional tether snapping. 3. He could begin blaming other people. Villains rarely blame themselves. Remy could begin pointing fingers at anyone he believes influenced Deke's decision. Elektra, the Forresters, Finn, even Sheila, or someone innocent who gets caught in the crossfire. This misdirected anger is where violence begins. 4. His grief over Luna could merge with his desperation for Deke. 2 emotional traumas stacking on top of each other is a recipe for psychological collapse. Remy is grieving Luna. He is losing Deke. He is isolated. He feels rejected. He feels helpless. And he has a history of reacting badly to emotional loss. This combination is the turning point that transforms a confused young man into a potential long-term villain. How the show might use Remy's spiral to drive multiple storylines. B&B never creates an unhinged character in isolation. Their breakdown always feeds several storylines at once. Remy's unraveling could impact at least 6 characters. 1. Deke Sharp. Deke becomes the focus of Remy's fixation. Their emotional fallout becomes the core of the storyline. 2. Sheila Sharp. Sheila may try to mentor Remy or manipulate him, but 2 unstable people in the same emotional space are a bomb waiting to explode. 3. Elektra Forrester. Remy might blame her for turning Deke against him. Her safety becomes a concern. The Forresters get dragged in. 4. Finn. As a doctor, and as someone tied to Luna, Finn may notice Remy's unstable behavior first. 5. Hope and Liam. Remy's chaos could intersect with their lives accidentally or intentionally, especially if he blames Forrester influence. 6. Deke and Sharp. Not only will Deke reject Remy, but he'll feel guilty about it, and that guilt could lead to dangerous decisions. All of these threads converge into one fact. Remy is about to become the character everyone watches nervously. Why Remy is the perfect candidate to replace Luna as B&B's new wild card. The best villains on B&B are not caricatures or mustache twirlers. They are deeply wounded people whose emotional damage explodes outward. Characters like Thomas, like Quinn, like Taylor during her darkest years, like Sheila in every decade of her existence. Remy fits the archetype. He has a traumatic past. He is emotionally fragile. He has a history of bad decisions. He oscillates between remorse and rage. He still longs for love and acceptance. He feels alone and misunderstood. His actions are unpredictable, and his spiral feels inevitable, not forced. Viewers are already divided on whether to sympathize with Remy or fear him. That ambiguity is precisely what makes him compelling. He is not a villain yet, but he is not a hero either. He is a character standing on the knife edge between redemption and destruction. And the next choice he makes will determine the trajectory of his entire story. The emotional collapse ahead. What B&B might do next. Based on typical B&B structure, Remy's descent could unfold in 3 phases. Phase 1, the rejection. Deke ends things permanently. Remy tries to argue, but Deke walks away. The finality shatters Remy's emotional stability. Phase 2, the obsession. Remy begins trying to get Deke back. He spirals into fixation. He becomes increasingly unstable. Warning signs accumulate. Phase 3, the explosion point. A confrontation, a violent outburst, a kidnapping, a stalker arc, a tragic misunderstanding. Something catastrophic happens that drags multiple families into the fallout. This is how B&B builds long-term villain arcs. Slowly, methodically, emotionally, Remy has been constructed as a ticking clock. And the second Deke says, "We're done," the countdown begins.